And I am a mantrista, which means that I use mantras and other techniques that liberate the strings of the mind, the strings from string theory. I deciphered string theory, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about something a lot more important. I am a trained remote viewer. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, all the psychic abilities, telepathy, interspecies communication, which most people are not trained in. And I think that increasingly I am going to use the title Galactic Shaman. I just came back from sitting with a doctor after getting my blood test done. I've lost weight. My family was concerned. My blood test looked great. I don't put myself through the medical system in this part of the world. I actually don't let them touch me. I only did a blood test because my children insisted, because I've lost weight. So I would have been in a wheelchair 40 years ago because they said that's where I was going to end up. And definitely I would have many things the matter with me because of the level of stress if I had done what was recommended. So I think that we are entering an incredible cycle in which we need to get back down to basics. Not that you shouldn't go to the doctor. You should. But you shouldn't just go to the doctor because they are not trained in the other dimensions. Here we're talking about business. And I'm going to give you stuff from the other dimensions. So I am a galactic shaman. What does that mean? That means that I know a lot about off-planet stuff. Not for nothing that I was trained in interspecies communication. But I also was trained by a shaman in Tibet who was a Bon shaman, B-O-N. I don't put the fact that he was Bon in my bio because they do magic. Well, that's why I was trained by a Bon master. Magic is changing the reality without actually moving something in the physical dimension. And you don't know how that changed, but you changed it with your mind. Well, you know what? I learned magic and I'm trying to teach you magic, because once you get into the other dimensions, it's not magic. It's simply, like I tell people, well, I know what's the matter with you. Oh my God, how could you know? What's really easy, because I can see where you're broken. And that's what I'm doing in terms of business. So we're going to start with the theme today, which is what on earth is going on? What's going on is you cannot listen to me and have your lens this wide, because you're going to be constantly saying, this lady's crazy. Where did she get that from? What's the reference? That doesn't work. Shamanism, that doesn't work. There's no references. Where are your instincts? You can't even have your lens this wide because we're no longer limited to planet Earth. And that's why Elon Musk has the emphasis that he has. He's aware. And we all need to be aware. And with the stuff that I do, I work with those unseen factors. I actually take people to other planets because of my superpower of the power of induction. And I've given classes. I just am too busy right now. And I've taken people to Mars and I've taken them to Venus. And it's a transformation for them in the energies that that particular planet has. That's why people used to do pilgrimages, because they would go to a sacred place and they would come back with a piece of that with them because of transference of energies. But we're not going to go into that now. But I think I am going to tell you a story and apply it to your business. But this has nothing to do with business. I visited somebody and I stayed in their guest bedroom. And for 3 days and nights, I had the most horrendous body pains that I've ever had, with nothing being broken or bruised. I was like, what is this? What is this? By the 3rd night, I went, I need to figure this out, because I can't do this. I can't stay here. I'm too much pain. And so when I checked, somebody that stayed in that bed a lot had fibromyalgia. You know, the fibromyalgia is a lot of body pains. I can tell you that the pain is intolerable and I have a really high threshold. Horrible. But I didn't know this person. I was their guest, had fibromyalgia. So I said, do you have fibromyalgia? I didn't say that. I said, because then she'd say no. I said, do you have a lot of aches and pains? Yeah, I do. Have you been diagnosed with fibromyalgia? She went, yeah, but I haven't told anybody. I said, okay. She said, but how did you know? She never complains. I said, because you left that energy in the bed. How often do you sleep in the guest bedroom? She says a lot. I fight a lot with my husband, and that's where I sleep. Transference of energy. So when you hire somebody that's really good at what they do, but they got this bad energy, or they got this bad history, or they got a lot of troubles, that's going to transfer to you. So you have to figure out if it's worth it or not to have that person as an employee. And then I'm going to do a little second story. I had an employee, and she sat next to a wall. Well, she sat a wall here, plant here. The plant went south, and the wall got mold. Okay. And the roof, because it was on the last floor, had to be repaired because it started to leak. All of that was due to her energy. The three things was a transference of her to her space. She didn't have a coworker 2, 3, 4 feet away from her. She actually didn't have any coworker close to her, but she still managed to mess things up because she hadn't done enough work on herself. I can understand that. I hadn't done enough work on myself until the 90s. So transference of energy, think about it, very important. But now let's go into 6 minutes into this chat. Let's go into what it is that I want to share with you. Now you need to go like this to your lens, and you need to keep that open, because I'm not talking about what happened in the 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking historically what's going on right now. And what's going on right now, which was described in the Bible, when they say, and the meek shall inherit the earth, what they were talking about is what's going on right now. Oh yeah, the poor people are going to take over, and the rich guys are being exposed for the garbage that they are. Yes, but why? Because we are in a paradigm collapse right now. What paradigm? Oh yeah, people are different. No, it's a 2,000-year-old paradigm. You can't just say, oh yeah, no. Keep your lens wide open. Got it? The paradigm for 2,000 years, age of Pisces, was they slap you, you turn the other cheek. Hierarchy. Hierarchy. Yes, you suffer, but that's what you need. And hierarchy. Oh, he's the boss. All this stuff that's coming out about people, that stuff was already there. Why are we coming out with it now as if it was garbage, but we knew it 50 years ago, 100 years ago? Because when you collapse the paradigm that is collapsing, you don't have respect for hierarchy. So the fact that in the Catholic Church, they've always sexually abused systematically, they have entire schools set up for that. And it was tolerated, and they wrote books about it, 1400s. And now is when we're complaining, because the hierarchy collapsed. We don't really care who the heck they are or how important they're supposed to be. Sexual abuse is not right, but it wasn't right in the 1400s. So why did we tolerate it? We would talk about it. In Latin America, they talk about the village priest. Oh yeah, well, he's got children. But everybody tolerated it because that was part of the paradigm. So where are we going? Watch Elon Musk, and you will see where we're going. And watch the problems Elon Musk is having, and you will see the problems of going from a triangular hierarchical system for 2,000 years into a circular community system. You will see it all. He is totally representative of what it is that will happen. So let's just talk about his advertising. He was stopped in advertising by people that want to sustain the hierarchy of, we are important players and you're not playing the game. No, he's not playing the game because he is in the new system. So he doesn't have to play the game. He's actually ahead of you guys that are trying to take him down. But these guys are not going to go easily, because once they let go, they're actually in a free fall, which is what you need to know, having to do with your money, your job, what you're going to set up in the future. Are you going to be able to make that transition, or are you going to complain every step of the way? This is not supposed to be happening, and why didn't we do this, and how do we take this person down? The person's going to fall down anyway. All the truth is going to come out. In my case, I'm part of a hierarchy. I'm really good at what I do. A lot of stuff is going to come out that is totally unacceptable, but was part of a process that I had to go through to get here. If you have a narrow lens, oh, let's take her down. Why would you take me down? I'm trying to give you stuff so that you can survive in the new paradigm. If you don't believe in karma, past lives, and all the rest of that, moving into this new paradigm is going to be like impossible. Because you see, when it comes to karma, everything that happens to you that's bad, you needed it because there's something you weren't awake to. Or there was a good reason for that. When you have a mission and you decide to do something important, some of us have had to choose really tough stuff in order to be able to get to that goal there, because it was the only way to get there. But if your lens is like this, you're going to judge, and then you're not going to be able to get the candy that person's trying to give you, or the wisdom that they're trying to impart in you. And if you have to ask, what is she using as a reference? No. You go to your heart and you use that as a reference. It's called intelligence of the heart. And guess who promotes that? Plato, Aristotle, or the Greek philosophers. So why aren't you following that? We talk about it, but we don't do it because it was an old paradigm that we had to listen to the authorities. And if you listen to your heart, you're not going to listen to the authorities because there is no authority there. There is no hierarchy. It's circular. So if you look at what Elon Musk is doing, and I don't think he's going to mind me saying this, and if he does, he can send me a note or whatever. Telepathically, he can talk to me. He is pushing forward a vector into the new paradigm that's happening anyway, guys. You can't stop it. Why don't you work with it? Why don't you study it and go, okay, so this new company that is based on one person, I don't know, maybe it's not going to work. Maybe we need a team. And I love it the way companies say, no, I have this team working for me. And it turns out that they have 2 guys in Bangladesh that do their website. Yeah, that's a team, but not really, because there's not a sharing of power. There's not a group. I don't have a team. It's very difficult if you're in the intelligence community, and unfortunately, I still have one foot in there. They won't let go of my foot, my right foot, which is channels power. They're not letting go of it. But I can't have I can't have a community. Everything's supposed to be a secret. You can't, and they don't want me to have any type of support. So therefore, but eventually I will have a community. And as I tell my followers, I don't want to be anybody's guru. I want you to listen to when I'm speaking, take it in, lens like this, leave it there. If it doesn't feel right, I had somebody tell me they could not do the purification mantra. It didn't feel right. You're right. Unless you widen your lens and see what happens in the other dimensions. The purification mantra is, even though I hate, my heart is broken, I love and accept myself. Oh no, I don't hate. You know what? You do hate because you have an astral spirit, and that astral spirit is emotionally 2 years old. And a 2-year-old can really, really hate. And the only way you don't behave like a 2-year-old is because you're trained to grab that astral spirit and control it. And then you get a stomach ache and a headache. Okay, so your new business and the paradigm shift. What are you setting up? Is it going to work? Now, we are not fully into community. This may be another 2,000-year-old cycle, like the age of Pisces was that we just left. Victimization was the order of the day, and you should be proud if you had to suffer and work so hard. No, you should have used magic, and it would have been a lot easier, but you weren't allowed magic. Oh, no. No bypassing the authorities by learning magic. No. The whole thing with black magic is really, really, really interesting. I hate black magic. I hate it. I think that if you don't like somebody, you should walk up to them and slap them. Well, you're not going to do that. It's not to your advantage. First place, they may not know that you hate them. Second place, there's a consequence for hitting someone. Well, black magic will slap you. but you never will know it. You just blame it on your luck, the failure of the economy, all sorts of other things. Meanwhile, somebody's doing stuff. In the chats I'm doing now, ask Francis about your business, and I don't do employee stuff. And if you're just a professional, I don't answer your question. This is business, business, business. In some areas, there's a bit of a gray area. But too many people that are doing business are not doing well, not because they're not doing the new system of community, but because they're just too tired. Last night, I did one of those chats. I would say the vast majority of the people that I analyzed their business in the chat, in the moment, were just too tired. They can't vitalize their business. They're too tired. They can barely make it through their personal life, much less vitalize their business. That has to do with where the planet is at today, and a lot of it has to do with the excess fire. I'm not talking global warming. I don't know what the heck they're talking about when they say global warming. I think they just want an excuse to be able to fight. But I don't have time to waste on that. There is an excess of fire element due to all the radiating devices. And now we found out that you can augment the water element, the earth element in you, your company, your land, your products, through all these techniques that are other dimensional. On the physical dimension, it's very hard. It's like impossible. You're going to get burned up by the fire element, which is what had me continuously depressed several years ago, until I realized that the elements are in the other dimensions and you can manipulate in the other dimensions rather easily. Okay? So let's do it. And it works. So we have our Mantrist version, we realized after we did it, of the ice bucket challenge. The ice bucket challenge is to reduce the fire in the person that is receiving the bucket full of ice. What was the excuse for that? Oh, you donate money. Well, but why an ice bucket? Nobody had an answer for that. That was instinctive. This was a great thing. They gave us a leverage in terms of the most important technique we can probably teach you, which is the glacier technique, where we put glaciers on, visualize it. That's a healing. The other dimensions, a glacier on top of people's heads, a mini glacier inside their liver, but in the back of the liver, which has a portal to Orion, who would love and maybe has taken over the planet. And you visualize them. We have a video, a Mantrist music video that's on YouTube. I think it's 10 hours long. And it's flowing water from icebergs. And you visualize yourself under that. You take people like your kid who's screaming in the other dimensions, you put them under that, and you reduce the fire. And then you have a completely different personality. If you reduce the fire in your business and in your employees that do the service part of your business, you will have less angry customers. Because if you're the worst example I have happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe longer, and I've said this. I was watching somebody struggle in a phone call with a client, and she stayed very pleasant, but she was like this, and like this, and like, oh, it was on the phone, and then, so the customer, yeah. If that person, that service person who was very nice, had done the mantra, even though I hate and my heart is broken, she would have reduced in her repressed fire issues from all the radiating devices, cell phone, whatever. But she can't draw out of the people that she's servicing. She can't draw the fire out of them, which is arguments, hatred, anger, frustration. God, you're so stupid. Which is what everybody thinks about each other now. That's a excess fire. God, you're stupid. They're not, oh gee, everybody's stupid. No. Extra fire. Other dimensions. So I am going to now first introduce myself as a galactic shaman, and then after that I will say trained remote viewer, the other stuff that people can understand. I am having a problem in that last week I got assaulted by one of the Cuban mafia. So I scream bloody murder. And now when I start my chats and when I do my stuff, they have people parked in front of my house. They're not parked. And they just stand there to stimulate my dogs so that. Anyway, what is that all about? That's all about power. It's all about power. And what is the power? They want my power. They want the information that I can give them that they're not trained to have. And I can say they don't want to pay for my time. That is not true. It doesn't matter what they paid me. I wouldn't work with them. But they had it free for 40 years, so why on earth would they pay? But that is, the payment is not the issue. The issue is that that extra information has made those people millions upon millions of dollars. So why don't you have access to that? I'm not talking access to me. I'm talking access to the other dimensions so that you can get figured out those things that are happening that you don't quite have a grip on. And as we move more deeply into the collapse of this paradigm, and I'm going to say, which basically means that the banks are going to collapse, that the school system is going to collapse, everything that's hierarchical, the family is going to collapse. Father at the top, everybody else at the bottom. Oh, he's so nice, he takes care of everybody. You know what? Don't take care of me. Teach me what did I need to know, and I'll get it figured out, and I'll come to you if I need help. Don't take care of me. Because once you take care of me, you're controlling me. And I can't make independent decisions because then I lose that protection. All of that's going to collapse. And in the Bible, they say, and the meek shall inherit the earth. Because it's true. Because if you don't have a hierarchy and your income doesn't come from hierarchy, then you don't have a problem when it collapses. Most of us, which includes me, we are too tied into the current system that is in a state of collapse, which we're witnessing, and piece by piece, it's like, oh my God, piecemeal, just get it over with. No, don't get it over with, because it's going to be a new world. And if you did really well in the old paradigm, you're going to have a hard time doing well in this paradigm. You need to watch Elon Musk, because he is doing it in terms of the new hierarchy, the new substitute for hierarchy, which is community. But he has the other people taking pot shots at him and using the old system to try to take him down. And the truth shall set you free. Makes me want to cry. He's putting out the truth. Hey guys, this is the truth. This is the way it is. And of course, he can't do what he's doing. How can he do this that he's doing? Can you imagine? Everybody believe this, and he's showing, not just saying. He's not saying, hey, me. He's going, look. And that look, I cringe, because I know long-term the consequences of look at the truth. I'm going through it myself. For the people around me to really support me, they really need to believe me. It's very hard to believe me, because basically what I'm saying is, guys, nothing that you believed was correct, and you don't have protection from the authorities that are supposed to protect you, and they don't have your best interest in mind. But you can see it here, 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 but you don't want to see it. You're just complaining, oh, look what they did, and look what they did, and look what they did, and look what they did. You need to widen your lens and go, this doesn't work. And it doesn't work anymore. And that's why there's so many conspiracy theories that are no longer conspiracy theories. I love that I saw on Twitter. Somebody said, we need some new conspiracies because all the conspiracy theories turn out to be true, so we don't have any. It's true. I'm a child of conspiracy. And it took me a lot of years to learn to really not share so much, because it's just, they can't take it. People can't take it. It's like, because if what I'm saying is true, then what you lived is a lie. And you don't want to hear that. May I suggest that you drop your need to be right? Just be quiet. You don't have to tell people you were wrong. Just be quiet. Widen your lens and go, okay, what do I do? Because it is true, everything is collapsing. So what do I do here? What do I do? Now, today, as I told you, I had a blood test. I look great. My hormones, let's put you on bioidentical hormones. No, because you, the medical system, told me I would be in a wheelchair 40 years ago. You told me you can't cure autism. Yeah, you can, You're not going to want to have to do what you have to do to cure that. So shut my mouth, zipper. You got an autistic kid? Don't come to Frances. Why? Because everything I tell you, you're not going to want to follow. And if you do, you're not going to share it with the people you should share it with, which is other mothers and the medical system, because you know they're going to think you're nuts. Well, I was not born to work with 10 people or 20 or 30 or 50 or 5,000. I went through enough that I should be teaching millions. I'm not going to get raked over the coals because of certain things that we have been told, which are not true. And by the way, miraculous healings are not miraculous in the other dimensions. They simply are. You located the problem, and then it got addressed. Probably from the other dimensions and the other energy bodies. I mean, people say, how did you know that? How could you fix that? I said, it's really easy. If you can see, it's so much easier to fix something than if you can't see. If you don't believe that you have an electrical system, you have 3 electrical systems. You have a brain that's an independent electrical system. Stop using headphones. Magnets on either side of an electrical system is not too smart. You know that from school, but you refuse to apply it to your headphones because they're so great. Okay. You know, I know somebody who really got weird and changed, and I basically walked away from using that little ear thing, Bluetooth. And I said, listen, and I gave her a thing that puts into sound, the microwave, whatever. And she said, oh, you know what? Maybe that's the reason why I have liquid coming out of my ear. Oh my God. Liquid coming out of your ear? You got a problem. She didn't go to the doctor. She decided to maybe not use the Bluetooth that much. Okay. Patience. People who can see have to be very patient, or they become very angry, like I was for decades, or they just give up and turn away and go back to the mountain that they used to live on for centuries. In my past lives, I lived in mountains with goats and animals. I didn't live in this craziness. Now, in order to be able to get to people, I had to, in this incarnation, go, okay, military, no, science, no, cities, no living with animals, because the city will call you. They'll take you down. Okay, so that's what I have to give up all of that. How can I be a shaman if I can't have the elements of nature? How's that? So those of you who have the opportunity, the next time you buy a home, to buy it in the countryside with a little creek running through it, please do that. Those of you that go on vacation, when you go on vacation, please go to natural settings. And notice that the people that go to places that are very, with a lot of lights and a lot of, notice them and ask them 3 days later what they did on their vacation. And a lot of the times they'll go, what? And you'll go, yeah, what did you do on your vacation? Yeah. And you will notice when they come back, and don't ask them, but you'll notice that they come back more tired. Now, send somebody to the beach for a week. More sex, happier, different choice of music. You need the elements to be healthy. That's basic shamanism. And I'm not quite sure what the shamanism in terms of galactic is. I know you can't have earth energy, because if you're very grounded, spirits cannot attack. They can't invade you. That's in the original Lord's Prayer, by the way. The book that I hope to publish next week, called Creation from Victim to Master, talks about a lot of these things I'm talking about, but with examples, whatever. I'm not exactly sure. I don't have as much information having to do with the galactic stuff. I have a ton of information, totally operational, but it's not the same level as on the earth. But I'm not sure that I have to have that, because you see, on the earth, if you live here, if you didn't read something on the internet, then it's almost like it didn't exist. But once you leave this dimension and this planet, every single thing is available to you, past, present, and future. So it's different, but I feel totally confident when I call myself a galactic shaman. How do you stay healthy off planet? You really need to believe in aliens. And you need to have a system to where you can tell when they're going to be good for you and not good for you. What do you avoid? And one thing you have to learn, which is really hard, and I'm ending with that. You need to give up the concept of time. There's something going on the planet now, and every time I see that somebody dares to say like 2 words about it, they've done it a couple of times on Twitter, X, and they've said, well, and wait, if you run into somebody from the future, and then they don't say anything further, you need to know that Orion took down planet Earth, which is what's happening now. Oh no, but they already took it down. And they haven't taken us down yet. They already took us down. Oh, wait, Francis. No. And you need to know that the people from Orion, the beings from Orion, are sorry that they took us down. But it didn't happen, but it did happen, and they're sorry. And you need to know that they're showing up on planet Earth and have for a while. I don't know how long, 45 years. What happened 45 years ago? 45 years ago, they started to show up. The same people that took us down, and they're trying to save us. Well, why did they bother to take us down? That's you're connected to time. It's not past, present, future. It's all now. Okay, so you can go, that's it, Francis, that's it. I'm signing out. I don't need you. Well, you know what? Maybe you do need to take that information and put it here and go, I can't integrate that. Don't integrate it. Leave it there. You're going to hear it again. Outside of planet Earth, there is no time, because time is tied to the physical dimension. Time and space is tied to the physical dimension. And once you get out of here, you don't have those restrictions. You have a lot of other problems, but you don't have those restrictions. So don't let what I just say turn you off. Just know that your lens is here. I'm talking here. That's helping to widen your lens, to allow information that one day may make a huge, huge difference for you, having to do with your children, your health, your business. Allow the information to sit there and look at your heart. And your heart will probably say, well, she believes what she's saying. She's not lying. She doesn't think she's lying. I'm not lying. I'm not the only person that says it, because it's true. How does that affect you? I don't know. I went to a party years ago, and I was talking to a woman who was related to somebody who was one of the most creative minds in Hispanic media, not coincidentally from Puerto Rico, which is an incredibly creative and spiritual place. And I have a glass of wine, she has a glass of wine, and we're talking, and all of a sudden I said to her, you're from Orion. And she said, okay. I said, you came from the future. And she went, oh, wow, that's so neat, Francis. That's, wow. She didn't reject it. She's Colombian. She didn't reject it. And I went, what did I just say? Why didn't I monitor my mouth? I don't monitor enough. And then I heard it many times, and I've seen it many times. And a lot of people who know a lot that are not sharing with you guys because you're not ready, because you're hanging on to the physical dimension for dear life, but that's not going to help you in your finances. Why aren't you taking care of the other dimensions of your spaces? And in the chat yesterday, most people, it was their exhaustion in the chat the week before on factors in your business, and everybody wants to know why they're not more prosperous, was that the spaces were, their spaces needed to be trashed. They needed to throw everything out, move everything, paint everything, put our Mantrist movement on the videos, the visual plus the music, because they were designed and the music was composed. I asked for it to be composed with sounds and images that would purify, not just the person, but spaces. So I'm going to leave this like this. There are some questions, which is great, but I didn't take the time to look at them. And Dorian is reminding me of something, which is the shape shifting, and about the fact that there are galactic beings that are really bad, but they dress up like angels. Yeah, they run our religions. But because you don't think that somebody in the other dimensions that dressed like an angel could possibly be bad, because that's what you were taught, then you can be misled easily. And that's the reason why we're giving these chats. Thank you, Dorian, for reminding me of that, because there may be one new person on this. We're not getting a lot of traction. And I like to think that it is not because of what it is that I'm doing, but having to do with unseen forces that are trying to block all of you from having this information that the power players have. Okay? I love you all. I'm FRANCESFOX, Galactic Shaman, plus Mantrista. And buy our book when it comes out next week. And then do yellow highlighting and send us back all the mistakes we made, because it's like overwhelming. It doesn't matter how many times we go over it, we still find things that are not allowing it to be perfect, which is what I would like.